So I was cruising nicely until one lovely Tuesday, I walked into work just like a normal work day. And then you're just doing your job. And then like in between, maybe like the day there's departmental meetings. So that was normal though, like departmental meetings. So you go in on a Tuesday, a normal employee. And by the time I was leaving work at 5 that day, I didn't even have the company access card.
Hello, champions. Welcome back to Chpter Champions. Today is an exciting day. We have our first lady guest, Susan. Super excited to have her. And on this podcast, we share experiences, learn from the best entrepreneurs who are building their businesses online. And we'd love to jump straight into it by welcoming Susan and hearing about her story.
Thank you so much, Tesh, for having me. As you guys have heard, my name is Susan Wanjiku. I am the founder of Hub Kenya, which is a coaching center, an online financial literacy coaching center. I'm also a certified life coach, an investment advisor and portfolio manager. And I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we're happy to have you. And the reason this is one of our most intriguing sessions so far is because you've managed to take a service or something, a business people would consider a service or consulting business, where it's more like you have one-on-one sessions with people, talk about their finances, how they can improve, but you've productized it. So you've made it available to the masses through your online platform, through your Instagram, all these channels, and make financial literacy available to so many people. So that's really cool. But before we get into that, we'd love to know who you are, like where you started from.
Okay.
And how you ended up in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's a sad story, but one that I now look back at with so much joy. So I went to school. I'm educated as an economist. So my degree was a Bachelor of Economics and Finance. I did CPA up until some point that I discovered I cannot be an accountant. So I stopped in the middle. And then I also now, like, I realized that I'm more interested in financial markets. I'm more interested with investments. So I also now got my CFA certification, which is like a certified investments and financial analyst, which was good because even before I graduated, I got a job. Working in an investment company. So that happened and I worked there for 4 years. And then you see the most interesting thing is that when you're so young and you're fresh, you think you have your whole life ahead of you. So I was cruising nicely until one lovely Tuesday, I walked into work just like a normal work day. And then you're just doing your job. And then like in between, maybe like the day there's departmental meetings. So that was normal though, like departmental meetings. So you go in on a Tuesday, a normal employee, and by the time I was leaving work at 5 that day, I didn't even have the company access card.
Wow.
Like it was brutal. Like it was just hand over the company laptop, hand over everything.
Wow.
Like the like layoff process was just brutal. And then they're like, you'll serve notice from home. They give us like a 2 months pay, and that was it.
So and this was a retrenchment.
Yeah. And then you think it can only happen to you at, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
Because I was just probably 25, 26 thereabout.
So what was the cause?
They were just doing restructuring, those financial issues. That was 2019.
Okay.
So like every department head was tasked with, shedding off the weights,
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So that's 2019. Of course, because we are women, we cry. I spent quite a number of weeks just wondering. I think it was just such a shocker for me. And why I'm saying now I look back on it very beautifully. I feel like that experience shaped even the kind of business I ended up getting into. Because you would think that someone who's working as an investment like analyst has investments. Of course, you must have investment savings. You've kind of like, you have your finances in order. At the time I was losing that job, I didn't have savings, I didn't have investments, and I was in debt.
Wow.
So the 4 years that I've been there, other than the work experience I'd acquired, there was nothing really financially to show for the 4 years I've been there.
Okay, you were young, but like, how are you thinking about money then? What?
problems.
Gosh.
I have a background of not coming from like the most financially, like I come from poverty. Let me not even sugarcoat it. So you see, you're dealing with like a lot of black tax. So like when you get your first job, your first thought is not, oh, I need to save, I need to invest. Is that, oh, we need to move to a better house. So you upgrade. You're like, oh, my parent had this loan. I've seen it stressing her out. So let me help her out. So you first of all kind of like are trying to come up for air. Because again, you have your whole life ahead of you.
It's true.
Like I was heading to CFO, I had my whole life planned out and whatnot. So I guess that's one of the things that caught me off guard. I would hear people talking about like, of course, in Kenya, then I didn't see a lot of like content around personal finance, but like I'd see people like Dave Ramsey and like other people in the Western world
Dave Ramsey's
sharing like you should have an emergency fund. Up until that
Those
day,
are vibes.
oh my god,
Gosh.
like no one ever had to even explain to me what you need an emergency fund for, especially if you don't have rich parents, if you're not a trust fund baby, if you don't have like any other backing, like something else you can fall back on. You can't be walking around like say without that. So that was 2019. Around that time I was also like planning to get married in 2020 and whatnot. So my plan was
just before you continue, I think now that time in 2020, 2019, so I'm just curious, like, so this happened. So how did you feel during that time? And how did you kind of like pick yourself up to get into like this framework of thinking of like, I need to do things different,
to do
like,
things differently? I think for me, I wouldn't even want to lie to you that I had like resilience. I think for me, it was just, it has happened. What are you going to do about it? The most surprising thing that I learned through that season is that there's a shame that is attached to losing your job. That's very weird to me because you've been doing your job. It probably has nothing to do with your deliverables because we were working very long hours. Like sometimes you'd be in the office at 7 and when it's high peak, you'd even leave, especially end month, because we have to send client statements to all our investors. You'd even leave at like 3 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, there are times we'd really, really work long hours. Exactly. So, but you still feel like there's something wrong with you. Like, why did they, like when they were choosing who to fire?
Why you?
Yeah, why me? How did they end up choosing me? So, as I said, it was towards the end because this happened in September. So most of the time I was just like, the 2 months pay that I was given was like enough leeway for me to be like, since now I don't have fare and like a lot of things, just organizing how can this like last me as long as possible as I kind of like try figure out. So I'd say number one, just dealing with it. I mean, I think people want to be really beast mode about some of these things when they happen to you. So it's like you think you're just gonna kesho, you're gonna, and bounce back. That's not how it happened. Because like the first 1 month, as I told you, I was just crying and wallowing and also hiding. So if I met someone like, oh, how's job? I wouldn't tell them that I've lost my job. I'd be like, it's okay. Everything is okay. I think I just accepted it maybe towards December.
I see.
When I was like, okay, you've brooded long enough. And then now also the account balance was starting to give me red flags for you can't be wallowing.
You need to do something.
So for me, my wake-up call was realizing January will come and I will not even have enough to make rent.
I see. Wow.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing about that is, you see this in many books probably, is around confronting the brutal facts early. Because
as early as possible.
The earlier you do it, the earlier you're able to get yourself out of that situation. Unfortunately, most people just bury their head under the sand
and pretend it's not
pretend
happening.
nothing has happened.
Yeah.
And it becomes messy.
It gets messy real fast. So I guess for me, that's what it wasn't at I've picked myself up because I'm so resilient. It was that my bills didn't care that I didn't have a job. So, and I've learned, not just in business, but in life, if you're not a person who can quickly pivot and like adjust, it's like pivot, adjust or die. It's not optional to like do that. So that's how I now started kind of like thinking around the area of now what can I do?
Okay.
So 2020 was supposed to be my year.
Okay.
I knew I had papers, work experience, and I was going to just apply for jobs and get another one. At that point, I've not thought business.
Yes. Yes.
Then COVID, of course,
Who
happens.
could have thought?
And the companies that are supposed to employ you
Yes.
They're cutting more.
cutting
Oh
and
my
shutting
gosh.
down, and people are working from home. So now, since everyone was online baking banana bread, and I'm not very
Yes.
good in the kitchen,
Yes.
I also did not want to feel like that useless wife that just sits in the house and you're waiting to be brought for money and whatnot. I've just been raised to be, I'm a worker bee by personality. So in my mind, I was just like, one of these Sundays we've come from church, and then one of my mom's friends is like, in Kiswahili, msichana wako si anafanyanga kazi kwa investment. They work in an investment company.
Yeah.
Can they come train us? We have this group and we want to know where to put our money. So that, like, the aha moment.
Yes.
I had two aha moments.
Okay.
So that was the first one. So I'm like, yeah, this is my bread and butter. I don't mind. So after church, they had this location they had at a restaurant there in Thika Road. And they're like, we have this X amount of money. What do you advise we do? So because this is my day-to-day, that's what I used to do. It came out so naturally for me. I've also always just been like a confident speaker and orator. So I've never struggled with like standing in front of people.
I see.
So I just taught them, this if you want something low risk, this is what you can do. If you want to make a bit more, this is what you can do, etc. It was in fact, I got so excited doing it. I'd never thought I'd enjoy like teaching or coaching people on what to do with their money. And then, of course, the whole time at the back of my mind, I'm like, are you guys serious? You don't know these things?
Yes.
So how I knew they were serious is because at the end of the thing, someone handed me an envelope. Remember, this is a favor I'm doing for my mom's friends.
Okay.
Now when I'm going home, I'm like, wait, these people have paid me.
Yeah, that drive back
for
home
that.
was,
Because in my mind, I'm just like, you don't know what a money market fund is? Why are you so impressed? So that's how, like, when I went back home, I just started thinking, I'm like, this could be
be something.
a business opportunity, right? So then it wasn't like the Legacy Hub Kenya. It was just like as a side hustle while I'm waiting to get a job. If I hear of any chamas that want someone to like train them on what to do with their money, then I was gonna maybe start telling people I do such a service just so that you can get your 10K, 5K here. So now because of that, now again, because everyone was online, I was like, since everyone is like pretty much on Instagram, I was like, you know what? I'm not so useless. I have head knowledge and I have all this information that I picked up from that one meeting that people are not so privy to. So I said I was going to test out the idea, and I was like, every Friday, then Instagram didn't have Reels. It was IGTV.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It
was
IGTV.
So I was like, every Friday, I just look for something that rhymes with like finance, whatever. So it's like, I was gonna do 5-minute Finance Friday videos. So I just do like a video on Instagram. I just record myself with my phone. Then I had a Huawei.
Wow.
And then I just started putting it out. And my first video was what money market funds are, how they work, and why you need to save in them instead of saving in a bank.
How many followers did you have then?
I had like less than 1,000 followers. I was like at 900
Basically,
followers.
family and
so
friends.
you're talking to your people.
I was talking to myself and my relatives. Like just your friends and your relatives.
Oh, this was a live.
Yeah, it's just an IGTV. I just did that.
Okay.
A camera recording and then I published.
Then
Let me tell you, that video got the weirdest response. It just, like, guys are like, what is a money market fund? etc. So at first I was like, are you guys serious?
Yes.
Because it's common sense to you. You think it's common sense to
it's true.
Everyone.
Actually, there's this thing I was reading last week. It was saying experts think everyone else is smart.
Yeah.
So like you tend to go around with that misconception. So you even have like very short conversations with people. Like, I thought you knew this, but the reality is like not everyone.
Sure. And then you also realize that you're also very kind of like, for lack of a better word, you're stupid in other areas as well. Because you it's also not bread and butter for you.
Exactly.
So that happened, and then I was just like, okay, so I just consistently started doing the Finance Friday videos every Friday, just short 5-minute clips. Now, for me now, the second aha moment was, And I think it's a combination of opportunity meets preparation, what most people will call luck.
Yeah.
You see, people are now starting to experience emergencies, financial emergencies. And then there's this tiny little lady talking about emergency funds.
Yeah.
So I feel like my content got traction because of what people were going through
at that time,
in
During
2020.
COVID.
Yeah. So more and more people want to know how they can save. More and more people wanted to know how they can deal with salary cuts. So even when my friends started telling me they're getting salary cuts, I started making videos around
I see.
salary cuts,
how to adjust
deal and stuff like that. So that's how my online platform grew to where we are now.
Oh gosh.
100K plus.
119,000 followers on
and growing.
Instagram. Yeah,
Wow.
and
That's amazing.
That's niche because everyone who follows me, because I don't post any other kind of content.
Yeah.
It's just personal finance.
That's really cool. The last guest actually talked about finding a niche.
Yeah.
And that's very clear. Like, you found your superpower. I think also just knowing yourself, understanding that I have confidence and leveraging that as one of the cornerstones of your business. Not everyone can stand in front of a camera every week and just create content,
and talk about money, especially.
Yes. So combining that and your understanding of money, those are two different disciplines: content creation and financial management and all that into one. Help you create a business. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that's something that I like to tell people whenever because of course you will get questions around, I have this X amount of money, what kind of business would you recommend I start? And I really dislike answering that question because it takes away, there are things that you're unnatural at.
Yes.
That no one can tell you. Like if I don't know you that well, I can't tell you, you can monetize how confident you are, or you can, we just look at what qualification someone has instead of, because I don't think if I wasn't as confident as I am,
you couldn't do this.
Exactly. I wouldn't be able to do it. So it's a combination of, I feel like the perfect business is a mix of your skills, your expertise, exposure, but also personality.
That's true.
Yeah. And so that's like the secret ingredient.
100%. I love it. Cool.
And so we're at this point where you had the two aha moments. So the first one was you could leverage on your skill and your confidence.
Sure.
You noticed this from the Chama meetings, and then there's what's happening on
the second one was that I could use social media as a tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this year you also mentioned you were kind of like trying this on the side, and you were like, okay, I'll still try and look for a job, etc.
Yeah.
So like what happened now? Like when did you now decide, damn, I can actually do this full time? Like what was that maybe third spark that made you?
2020 June. I've been doing content, obviously, right? And I'm just hoping that it was more of like for me not to feel useless, that I'm just sat at home, but I was still like applying for jobs. I attended some interviews. And then one of these days, a lady DMs me on Instagram and she's like, hi, do you offer coaching? Like this, she gave me a whole life story, like very long paragraphs of everything that's happening in her life. And they're like, I'd like a consultation session with you. At that particular point, I had never thought of how to structure it. I didn't have a company. I didn't have anything. I didn't even know that I could do coaching, consulting. Like this was more of a pastime, like how I would be baking banana bread.
Okay.
So at that moment when the lady asked, so I was telling my partner, yo, today, look at this message that this person sent me. And he was like, usijaribu kumwambia ufanyange. Like, don't even try to say
just
you
say
don't.
Yes.
Just say yes. Interestingly, to date, I tell people this, that my first client, she was my first client, but to date, she does not know she was my first client.
Wow.
Because like I was just like, yeah, I do. What would you like us to work on? And she was like, I just want someone who can help me like figure out this budget, etc. And I was like, why not? In fact, what I told her, and this is something that is, people have mixed feelings about it, because before I started charging for my coaching services, I coached for free for 6 months. So I told her, because I was afraid, I was still dealing with like a lot of imposter syndrome and not knowing if I can actually get the results. You see, there's what people see on social media and they see this.
Yes,
so I was like, this woman she's seen that can change her life. I don't know that I'm the one. So I was like, okay, let's do this. Just I gave her then I didn't even know I can use Zoom. So we used like Google Meet.
Okay.
And I was like, let's meet. And I just literally, that was the first time I created what is now a very good way. It's an amazing product that I sell now. But like I just created something simple like on Excel.
Wow.
I was very good at Excel. I still am. And I was like, okay, can you fill this in? Let me see what your numbers look like. And then we can meet and review it together.
Okay.
In exchange, if you do get results, if you enjoy the session, I need you to do me a written testimonial and say,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have two questions there. There's this thing we keep on seeing, which is you just have to do your 10,000 hours to become a master. And also, like, your first customer can be your evangelist. So I don't know if you had this thinking at the time. What made you actually like give out this for free, and what did that do for you later on?
Yeah, I think for me it was the fear. I've always had a fear of like being thought of as a fraud.
Okay.
And I think Tesh and I were talking earlier about why more like medium and big businesses are run by men, as opposed to women. I'm your case study. Please study me. We are driven a lot by fear, I feel, as women, and it's also because you want validation at some point. So you don't want people to say, oh, I bought the product, it's not even nice, or I attended her trainings, they're not even all that. So you fear that. So for me, I've always been, again, I always tell people, don't fight your personality. You leverage on it. So for me, it was more of, if I can just get 1 or 2 people or 3 people that I can work with that can give me feedback. For me, the most important thing, especially as a new business owner, is feedback. Right? So if someone could have given me feedback on, do you feel like I actually did something for you? Did you enjoy how the session was conducted? Like that. So for me, I need feedback. It kind of like gives me a boost to,
and the confidence to now,
and
maybe
the confidence to kind of like be bolder, right? And let me tell you, she wrote a whole, so I took the screenshot and I posted it on Instagram. And like I worked with this client. This is what she had to say about our budgeting session. And I got so many like DMs like, hi, how much do you charge for this? Etc. Do I know how to charge? Do I know how to price my services? Which is why like immediately I just started I Googled how to price coaching packages. And then there was this whole world of information that came. And that's how I stumbled onto coaches from Canada, the States, how they do it. So I signed up for a coaching certification. Which I was paid for by my partner because, again, remember broke Susie? So I guess that's 6 months of coaching. Because especially now, the other thing that I would say is immediately jumping onto the opportunity when it presents itself. Because in between that initial class with that lady and when she sent me the feedback and when I signed up for a coaching class, it was a week. Let me tell you, when you're broke, there's so many things you can. I couldn't even sleep because of the excitement. So I was like online, I'm Googling, I'm getting classes.
So you're learning as you're also
as
like
I'm
coaching
also doing. So of course, when I started the classes, they now started teaching us on how to collect feedback, testimonials. So I was doing something that is taught in coaching school. I just did not know. But then now when I was learning, so my 6 months of coaching, getting the certificate, I was also coaching for free.
I see.
While doing side hustles like online writing jobs, transcribing, and other things because my bills do not care that I don't have a job. So that was that's why I usually say that my business was officially launched in 2021 as opposed to 2020 because I feel like 2020 was the tries.
And I think you talked about, sorry to interrupt, you talked about women. I think just to throw in something on men on the opposite spectrum, I think it's very important to spend time understanding the value, especially how your customers see the value. And that's what I like about this story before you start pricing, because you find some experiences where somebody hasn't even developed a skill. They're not sure they can deliver 100%. And they want to jump on you with a price.
And they're charging you already.
They're charging you already. And that creates an opportunity to build a lot of distrust. Because if you don't deliver, I'm not going to refer you to anybody else. So I think there's a very delicate balance around. Don't offer too much value or value for free, but also just make sure you're upskilling.
Like you have proof of concept even
So,
that what you do works.
So I think you did it really, really well.
Right.
And fast forward to how you thought about making this a product. Because now I can go to your website, download a budget tracker.
Yeah.
I think that's one of your solutions that's doing really, really well.
Sure.
You don't have to be involved. So literally you're making money while asleep.
Thankfully. I think it was the process of one-on-one coaching because it's beautiful and I still do it, only that now I charge premium for it. But you soon start to, especially now when I registered the business, I started doing it for money and all of that. I realized that on the days I'm sick, for example, I don't work, so I don't eat.
Okay.
On the days there's other stuff happening, family, whatever. Like
life
when
happening.
when life is happening, you can't. So the business is me and I'm the business. Right? Also, it is not sustainable to. I had to think about, do I see myself in the next 5 years still doing coaching?
Okay.
And like, how do I make, for me, sustainability now started, especially in 2022, because I was no longer now worried whether this works. I knew it worked. And then there was a time I had a waiting list of 3 months. So I started losing clients.
What?
Because
you didn't have
Tesh,
enough
there's
time.
only so much I can do in a day.
Wait list for 3 months.
Yeah, because I was coaching Monday through to Saturday. It's usually 2 hours. So my first call in the morning will be 7 to 9. I probably take a 1 hour break and have breakfast. And then I'll do, let's say 11 to 1. And then I'll do my lunch break. And then I'll do a 2 to 4 class. And sometimes I'd even have like a 4 to 6 because someone's like, please, can you just slot me in?
Yeah.
And then I have like someone who's like, I work an 8 to 5. I'm only home from 6 or from 7. So I slot them for an evening class. How tired is that person?
Oh, gosh.
Monday to Saturday.
Yeah.
Monday to Saturday.
Exactly. Then now what you start experiencing is bottleneck in your business. There's all these people. So my program then was 16 weeks. Now we've narrowed it down to like, say 13 weeks. Yeah. So someone pays for the full program, a coaching program that is 16 weeks. Do you know how long that is? 4 months. They've paid bare minimum because then I didn't know how to price myself very well. So I remember the first cohort that I had of coaching clients, they were paying like 40 Gs. So I want you to just spread that out for 4 months.
See how much that is.
And then now you've gotten like, there's numbers. And then, my Instagram was also blowing up.
Yeah.
I started a YouTube channel. So it's like, because it's, I think people thought it was like a fully fledged business. There's 3-5 coaches there that can coach you. But then even if you try, there's someone I tried to work with that was also good at this. But then everyone is like,
They want you.
Susan on YouTube. They want Susan.
Oh, gosh.
You
In the
get
flesh.
in the flesh.
Yes.
So you now have to, like, I was like, I don't want to lose all that money. So I'm putting people on a waiting list. Like this month is full, but there's this slot that is freeing up next month. So we will schedule you then. But then you realize people have immediate needs.
Yes.
They want to figure, I've gotten a new job now. I need to know how to budget now. You can't tell me to wait
for 4 months.
4 months.
So I started losing clients, and then my business has, like, these clients paid money, but like the money is done already. Because I've used it on like other expenses. Like I feel like financial management for business is a whole other conversation, So I asked myself, how can I make 10 Susans?
Yes.
Okay. Like how can
replicate yourself?
How
basically.
can I replicate myself? Right. So it's like, what if I sat down and, because the most important things, debts, budgeting, and investing. One of the things, like my vision and the mission of the Legacy Hub Kenya is to make personal finance or financial literacy simple, accessible, and personalized, right? So how can they access? Most people don't even want to learn about Forex, truly. Like if you're thinking about stock market, Forex, investing in foreign markets, you're like the 5 percentile. I can tell you that for sure.
Really? Oh gosh, okay.
Let me tell you, up to like 60% of Kenyans today, formally employed, earn less than 50,000 Kenya shillings.
Wow.
Yes, Tesh. 50,000. 50,000.
Wow.
Let me not go into how much we do with 50,000 in a weekend.
Yeah.
But like that's, you get. So this guys, let me tell you, the data is scary about how bad our finances are, especially when you work with people on the ground. Yeah. So these people, they just want basics. They want to learn budgeting. They want to learn how they can get out of debt and how they can even just start simple saving, not even investing. So I was like, what if I've been sitting on camera doing free content and these people just want a class for budgeting.
Yeah.
So it's like, what about I pre-record myself teaching a budgeting class, pack it with as much information and case studies as possible, and put it up as a self-paced course.
Yes.
So that if you're not able to get Susan in the flesh, at then I was charging 6,000 for a class, 1.5 hour class. You can get Susan in a recording for 2,700. So
that
I just
also for you means you can sell it to
you can distribute it
people.
way
easily.
more people. So that's when I think for me the bottleneck was what started making me think I need to find a way to still sell this knowledge.
Okay.
So if you want a low ticket, if you're not able to either get a slot for personalized coaching or you're not able to afford the 6,000, you can get 2,000 and buy this course.
Wow.
So because of the low ticketness of it, it's at a low price point. Even on the days I don't coach, if I have 3 people buy the 3 hour
the
recorded course,
at least you make money.
So I created one for budgeting, I created one for investments, and then I also created like a budgeting tool. Most people probably know how to budget, they just need that tool.
I see.
So now that's how we also created the tool.
I see.
So you realize that it's not sustainable for the business to be reliant. So like, I mean, even last year I didn't coach. I was having like personal challenges, health and whatnot. So I didn't work October, November, and December, but I made money.
Wow.
You're still earning an income.
Because as long as my Instagram is driving traffic to my website, there's sales. If some videos I've done on YouTube, I always ensure that I leave a call to action in case you're struggling with budgeting. There's a resource here for you. If you'd like to learn the basics of investments, there's a resource here for you. So as long as there's that traffic going to your website, and you have now the e-commerce system to ensure that the sales are, they're self-fulfilling. Like I don't need to be there. You add to cart, you buy, you download, and that's it.
Move on.
Wow. And wow, we've I think you've built a brilliant business, and it seems even like you have a problem and it helps you like go to the next level in like making the business better. But I'm also curious, like in the journey, what have you seen change in some of your customers as well? Like someone who began, maybe they came to you for something. Like what's been that story like you've seen with people?
I think that's the most humbling and the most fulfilling part of my business, actually. Because just like any other business person, I don't know about you, maybe you can tell me, but do you just wake up and want to quit your business every Monday?
Yeah, that happens.
It's like you just run simulations and you're like, I could even go to another country and start from scratch because of the challenges and the demands of business and entrepreneurship. For me, what keeps me going is honestly the stories and the feedback. I've met people in the most random of places who've told me, I've taken your budgeting class and you have no idea what that did for me. And the number of times I also meet people who are like, why don't they teach us these things in school?
Wow.
Like, and someone who's like, my mom, and then also even having impact on families. Like there's a lady who paid for the sister who was going through like a divorce, and then she wanted to like figure out now, what next now that I'm going to become a single household, income Anna. And then the sister brought the sister, and then they brought the daughter. Like I've had a family, and interesting, like now I even have families where we have quarterly meetings.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're willing to pay you for it.
Gosh.
And just like to help their teenagers or their young adults in uni organize their finances. At this particular point, we're also helping them build investment portfolios. Like their families who are really focused on wealth creation.
Yes.
And they don't mind paying for the service of just having an expert sitting and just guide their young ones or even them. like in terms of investing. So when I say that, I think for me, it is the feedback that I always get. And you really underestimate what you've done for someone until you meet them like 3 years later. And the last time you spoke, they had like 1.2 million in debt. And then now they're telling you, what, right now I'm only left with like 200K, or I'm now debt free. I've even started investing. Look at this. I bought these stocks. I did this. For me, that's it's what keeps me going. Because again, I feel like social media has a bug. When your business is online, and this is what most people don't talk about, the same way you get good feedback, you also get
like,
there's the other side.
You're like, did this guy wake up to make me angry?
How's the other side?
It's interesting because you see there's a lot of opinions you will verbalize, for example, as a personal finance coach that will piss off other businesses. So for instance, when someone comes to me and they're like, I want to plan education for my child. What, there's this education policy that I want to buy. And immediately no, I will just immediately know you, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, your child's education is not something you insure for. It's something you invest for. Because if I had a child in school, the first thought in my mind wouldn't be buy insurance. It would be create cash flow.
Yes.
So you see, I'm steering these people into stop buying these policies. They're not good. And I'm going to repeat it again. They're not good. Don't do it. Just don't. And then so you're trying to kind of like tell them this is what you need to do, invest, create cash flow. Because that's what education needs. Because it's 18 plus years of educating
it's an
a
investment,
child. So of course, if I'm selling insurance, will I like Susan?
Of course not.
No. So it's stuff like that. But also just the fatigue of running. It's still like, it's not now a one woman show, but it really still is in a way, because you're like the face of the business and all that. So there's the constant fatigue, discouragement. I honestly feel like I respect entrepreneurs for this one thing. To create a product and a service and to even put it out there for people to test, to criticize, to like or not. I think it's a superpower. Like, and being able to go, the confidence and doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years.
It's true.
It's definitely not as easy as going in for an 8 to 5 and getting your salary at the end of the month, honestly.
100%.
Yes.
So if you're to wave a magic wand, because you're already creating so much impact, what would you want the legacy hub to become?
Sure. I think I would like it to probably have bigger reach, because in terms of figuring out whether our courses are helping people or whether our resources, I was telling you earlier on today, it's very surprising to me the sales that we get from the budgeting tool. It's 750 bob, Kenya shillings. And it is my best selling. And I do sell premium coaching services. I work for corporates, I consult for corporates, but that's the one thing that even if I was to shut down my business,
it will still make you money.
It will still make me money. And seeing what people are able to do with it, it's just, so all you needed was someone to just structure this thing for you and you can use it. Because again, a lot of us are very privileged to have been brought up in families where finances was a day-to-day conversation, but majority of Kenyans are not that elite. So they see this track and they're like, oh, so like the aha moment, right? So if I was to wave a magic wand, I definitely want for the Legacy Hub to literally be a hub for Africans to be able, like you see the way you Google stock markets. And you see the S&P 500, but is it here in Kenya? Can you really, like, for someone who doesn't have that literacy, do they really understand what that is, right? So I'd want it to be a platform where someone in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Tanzania can look up information about investment opportunities available in their country or within their reach, right? And be able to get literacy, understand that investment, how it works, get some lessons or some clips or whatever resources that can help them understand the investment and then
I see.
make
Also
the
make that
investment,
investment.
right?
I
Because
see.
I've seen it. If you empower people to get the right information,
Yeah.
we fear what we don't understand.
Yeah.
So I learned that the trick is help people understand investing, help people understand financial planning, help people understand the power of debt. We, as Africans, we just know bad debt because we are all taking consumer debt.
Yeah.
But there's another side of debt we've never explored. The kind of debt that helps us build wealth,
and
build
grow.
businesses. That is not taught. We just know how to take out tala
Yeah.
for when the mwezi ko pale kwa
And
kona,
mshwari
you
and all
know.
these things.
So that's what I would do. I would wish that everyone can have access to what we are doing. Because I feel like the backbone of our economy it's still reliant on the 70% I'm telling you and very little. So imagine if they'd know what to do with their money.
That's amazing.
Sure.
Man, like you've dropped so many gems today. I feel like we could talk for another hour, but thank you so much, especially for the authenticity. You started by saying you didn't really know what you're doing, but you've jumped from strength to strength, and now your dream is even bigger. It's a Pan-African dream. So we wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Yeah, and our champions, if you'd like to, hear more guests like Susan, people who've started with nothing and really built impactful businesses, please subscribe. And we look forward to bringing you more and more. So today, Mark will start with the tips of the day.
Yeah. I was actually thinking on the tips, whether we should actually have Susan give us some tips today.
Oh, yeah, because...
Why are you putting me on the spot?
That's a good
idea.
I
looked through and I was like, I saw some of the content you made. So I saw biggest money mistakes. If it's biggest money mistakes or it's like in 2024, these are the best places to maybe put your money, or these are the things you can think about in 2024 to like maybe multiply your money or something. So sorry to put you on the spot, but
you
like
really have. Like now I'm like, oh, what are we doing?
Yeah, you can do three.
Just three. So like 3 things someone would do in 2024 that would like improve their finances, or?
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. I think the first tip I would give is pay attention to inflation.
Okay.
And what it's doing to your money.
Okay.
That's really important because as the cost of living is going up and the value of your money is depreciating because of inflation, you might want to think about the kind of like investments you're doing. So I would say pay attention to inflation, not just what it's doing to you as a consumer, but what it's doing to your money, where you have. So I'd just say where you've put your money matters. So check on whether you're getting compensated for inflation. The second thing that I would say is probably, because this is just our target market Kenyans?
It's actually all of Africa.
Africa. Okay, so I would definitely say watch on your debt as well, if it's finances. Not necessarily just being afraid of it, but like I would say minimize on bad debt and then learn on how you can leverage on good debt opportunities. I feel like there's so many opportunities everywhere for funding, for growth, for investments, for taking advantage and leveraging on money. We are sleeping on that. So I would also say understand how debt can work for you as opposed to working against you.
Okay.
And then the last one, and this is probably the most important, make more money, please. Like just really diversify your sources of income. I love saying this and I'll never stop saying it, especially because I've experienced it. One source of income is too close to none. So build multiple income streams.
Wow, that's powerful. One source of money is too close to none. It's so close to zero.
Because anything can happen, man.
Like COVID showed us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really cool.
I think super powerful. Thank you for that and on the spot. So the first one was pay attention to inflation. The second one was watch out for debt. And the third one was just make more money, which is something we are smiling because Chpter can really help you with that. So
Chpter can help us with making more money.
While asleep, actually.
While asleep, exactly. So. Making money in your sleep is a form of self-care. It's the best kind of self-care,
you
honestly.
can give yourself.
Yeah, especially if you want to talk to babes, just tell them self-care. They'll understand.
Love it. All right. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Susan. This is amazing.
Thank you for having me. And you guys are doing a great job. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Susan. This is dope.
Cool. Cheers, guys.